friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots.
In the 60s, people didn't get divorced.
Yeah.
It's like they do now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say anything. I've been married 3 times. And every time somebody'd have one of my kids, they'd get their tubes tied. So I started taking that personal after a while.
But that's going at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
We have more information on our sponsors and events that are coming up with the Fort Worth Roots podcast at the very end of this episode. Real quick, we do want to highlight one of our sponsors today at the front of the episode, Wood Post Metalworks. You can go to woodpostmetalworks.com. They specialize in metal signs with or without LED backlighting, fence and gate repair or installation, light steel fabrication, industrial plasma cutting, and more. We'll give you more information about these folks and our other sponsors, again, at the end of the episode. Whenever you do go to woodpostmetalworks.com, you can use offer code podcast817 to get 10% off your purchase. These are local people, and we're trying to keep Fort Worth dollars in Fort Worth pockets. Go check them out, woodpostmetalworks.com. And an event that's coming up very quickly, we've got the Psychedelic Panther that's going to be out there at Lola's this year, April 7th. It's a 2-day event. It's going to be Friday and Saturday. It's going to be a really awesome time. Lots of bands, 2 stages, lots of vendors. Our friend Joe Guzman, who's been on the show several times, actually there's an episode talking about the Psychedelic Panther with Joe Guzman. You can look that up in our catalog. It's labeled Psychedelic Panther with Joe Guzman. Anyway, mark that on your calendar, April 7th at Lola's. We will be there. The Fort Worth Roots podcast will be set up, doing little recordings and covering the event and doing a lot of shaking babies, kissing hands, passing out goodies. So come see us. April 7th at Lola's. Our guest today is a local legend. He did not start recording music until he was 60 years old. You can find him on Instagram as Bill Sibley Music, just a really, really genuinely nice person. And today we talk a lot about how his music is heavily influenced by the road to recovery and things that he's gone through in his life. Just one really awesome story after another. It does kind of start off a little slow, but if you'll hang with us, Bill has got some incredible stories that I'm so honored that we got a chance to sit across from this man and had these conversations. He also played live for us here in the studio. I think we got 3 songs out of him today. Really good stuff. I have to apologize for the audio quality. He has a harmonica, so he couldn't wear the headset. So the vocals on the tracks where he plays music for us here in the studio, his vocals did not come through very good. But you can find all of his music on Pandora and all the other streaming services, and we will have a boatload of links for you to click in the show notes to check it out. That is enough talking out of me. Thank y'all for being here, and please give it up for our new friend, Bill Sibley, and let's start the show. Well, I started to do some research on you through social media and stuff, and the first thing I noticed is that you know all the people that I've ever talked to in the Fort Worth music community.
Yeah.
I could name drop and start rattling off people that I saw on there, but it just looks like you know everybody.
Yeah. Well, people's really been kind to me, and I started, like I said, when I was in my 50s playing, but I didn't start writing or getting out until about 8 years ago. I was almost 60 when I wrote my first song.
Okay.
And now I've got 2 albums out, and I've got like 40 songs. But the people have really been accepting in the music industry part. I mean, the music people, they're a lot more accepting than in, like, I've been in construction my whole life, and those people are not as accepting as people in the music are, you know.
A little bit of a different vibe, right?
Yeah. And I met Guthrie Kennard, and I told you about him. He's played with everybody, and he's just a really good friend of mine. He's had some health issues, but he's fighting back, and he's playing with him, I met a lot of people. I met, a lot of really great people, but just being a songwriter, you meet a lot of people too, and it's been a blast because I've been doing construction my whole life, and to get to do this at the end of my life or as I'm getting older, it's really been a lot of fun, to get to be around the people and all that. That's probably the biggest thing for me is to, play music in front of people.
What got you to pick up a guitar at 50? Isn't that what you said, 50?
Yeah, like I said, I had the heart attack at 47.
Well, did you have any kind of influences? Was there somebody in your life locally that kind of suggested that, or did you have somebody that you were listening to that made you want to pick up a guitar?
Well, my stepdad was my mother was married several times, but my last stepdad, he was a jazz guitar player, but I wasn't a big jazz fan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. I like all kinds of music, but that's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I started when I started playing, I was I would just, it was like real relaxing to me, and it just kind of an escape, I guess,
Right.
And it just kind of went from there. And then my whole life, I've always felt like there was something I wasn't doing, and I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I always felt like that something was missing in my life. And when I wrote my first song, I knew that was it. I mean, I don't know, they're not great or anything, I don't know, but
well, good enough that you walked into you said a restaurant or a bar and you caught some woman playing your music?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's got to be the most sincere form of flattery right there.
Yeah, I mean, and it is. That's the, and when you're playing a song and you look out there in the audience, and you got 300 or 400 people sometimes, and you look up and you see somebody wipe a tear from their eyes, There's no better feeling. There's not an amount of money in the world that can pay you for that.
Yeah.
Because you're connecting with somebody, soul.
Yeah.
And that's really the way I do it. I don't do it to be famous or to make a lot of money. I do it because I love it, and I love to, I love the people, and I love just, I envy people like, I got friends, Buddy Whittington is a friend of mine, and Guthrie Kennard and Junior Clark and all them, and I envy those guys because they've been doing this their whole life,
Yeah.
And I feel lucky that I got to find it, a little bit of it anyway before, in my life. So
have you gotten a chance to kind of visit other cities, play your music in other places?
Yeah, I was selected to represent North Texas in the International Blues Challenge in Memphis.
Okay.
And that was a ball. And I went as the solo duo with my lead guitar player, Bill Hudson. And then Shake Anderson went as the band with Buddy Whittington and them guys. I mean, some of the best in the Metroplex was there, And we went up there and stayed for a week. They paid Trinity Blues, Trinity River Blues, put the thing on, and they paid for our rooms and our stay and everything. And
how long were y'all up there?
A week.
Yeah.
But we got to go to Sun Records, and go through the tour where Elvis was and all that stuff. And then we went to Stack Records, and, we did the tour of Memphis, and I got to play 2 nights at the King's Palace on Beale Street in Memphis. And, that was a blast because it was awesome. Packed.
Have you been back up there since COVID to Memphis?
No.
I've heard a lot of people talk about how they were worried during the 2020 thing if those places were going to be able to make it because there was no tourism.
Yeah.
So I just wonder what the landscape's like now.
Well, see, we went right as COVID had got to the United States.
Yeah.
But not where it was.
Yeah. So you're probably
January,
we were right February.
We were a hair in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but when we got back, I'd done several radio shows, did several KNON shows and live radio shows, and I did probably 5 or 6, and played the House of Blues, and things are kind of taking off,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden COVID hit and went poof.
Right. So you felt like you were building some momentum and got the rug taken out.
Yeah, then it just died.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and it's kind of coming back slow. But
yeah, did you do a lot of your writing during that time?
I did some. We got our a little bit before that. We had gotten our 5-year our grandson. From foster care.
Uh-huh.
And so he was almost 2, so we've had him since then. He's almost 5 now, and he's autistic.
So that's where a lot of your time went.
Yeah. And working and stuff. But I was still working, so it took away a lot of time. For me, I'm not one of those people that can come up with a topic and write a song about it.
Yeah.
If it don't come from inside, I can't do it.
So,
I've tried to do a topic, all right. Somebody else say, you ought to write a song like that. So I'll sit and think about it. Nothing.
So it's got to be something that's kind of happening in your life, something that just kind of occurs.
Something that comes from the heart. And, I mean, some of these things, I have no idea where they come from.
Yeah.
I'll just be playing my guitar, and all of a sudden something will come, and then it just starts kind of flowing out.
It's so funny how many times you hear artists say that.
And it just comes out. And, I change it, because you got 3 minutes to tell a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you make it over 3 minutes, they won't play it on the radio. I mean, 4 minutes, they won't play it on the radio.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes you have to shorten things and but the idea of the song, sometimes they'll be 5 minutes long, well, you can't do that, so you have to trim it down, and find the right words. But as far as the song itself, it usually comes out pretty fast.
Yeah.
Or pretty easy, and I don't really have to work at it. What I have to work at is getting to that place where that song comes out. That's where I'll sit and say, okay, it's time to write a song, because if I go a while without writing one, I'll start feeling kind of empty.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds weird, but I feel kind of empty, and so I go, okay, and then I'll start thinking about things and write down. Sometimes I'll write down a whole bunch of junk that I never use, and they end up in a box somewhere.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, something will come, and I'll be playing my guitar. I usually start playing, I'll play like 30 minutes, and then something will start coming out. But I have to get that creative thing going before I can. I kind of write a little different than a lot of people do. So,
now, did you say you're about to release your second album, or you have 2 albums out?
I have 2 out now.
And the first and the second album, do they have themes to them?
They're really a whole lot different. Yeah. I know my voice sounds the same. I have no range at all. None. This is it. And so but one of them's a blues, kind of a more of a blues rock, and the other one is more Americana, kind of acoustic.
Yeah.
more of a songwriter type. You know, a little bit deeper.
Is that your second album? Yeah.
It's a little bit deeper than the first one, you know, as far as some of the things, you know, in the writing goes, you know. And this one's going to be even kind of a mixture between both of them.
Your third album.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the names of your first and second album?
First one is Sweet Rain.
Okay.
And the song Sweet Rain is on there. I grew up in the 60s. People didn't get divorced.
Yeah.
It's like they do now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say anything. I've been married 3 times. And every time somebody'd have one of my kids, they'd get their tubes tied. So I started taking that personal after a while.
But that's going at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. But, you know, I grew up in kind of dysfunctional, kind of, and sometimes abusive stuff, you know. And so when I was 13, me and a friend ran away from home, and we took a school bus.
Well, that only goes one direction, doesn't it?
And some things happened. And
well, no, wait a minute. Did y'all steal the school bus?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just catching a ride.
No.
Like, I know where that one goes.
We were going to California.
Oh, shit. At 13?
At 13.
And where were you living?
Cleburne.
Okay. Cleburne, take your bus keys with you.
Well, everybody in Cleburne knows it because it stayed in the newspaper for a long time. So I've been famous before.
I believe that's called infamous.
I've been in the newspaper before, but not for good stuff.
Well, how far did y'all make it?
Out in the country, and we found this old house that nobody lived in, and there was some, they had some junk in there, and I found 6 airplane bullets.
Oh, my God.
Those great big long ones.
Anti-aircraft bullets?
Yeah, I guess. And
those are artillery rounds.
We'd built a fire because it was cold, and
Jesus,
and
Bill.
I threw them in the fireplace to see what they'd do. I was 13. Well, guess what they do? They blow up.
Oh my God! Wow.
And so anyway, I spent my first. I took my exams going into high school in jail.
Well, roll it back a little. Did anybody get hurt?
No.
Okay,
but the house went to the ground.
So the sheriff shows up.
Well, the highway patrol.
God.
So it was, yeah. So in other words, you know, I was a football player, and I was pretty popular and stuff. But then that happened, and it was just like I turned into a juvenile delinquent.
Oh my God!
And
so this is all when you're 13.
Well, when 13, 14, and I started drinking and doing a lot of drugs, and I lived a pretty hard life for the first. I got sober, clean and sober, when I was 34.
Yeah.
Well, what had happened? I tried to quit, and I tried to straighten up, and I tried to do this, and and I hated living. People think that drug addicts and alcoholics want to live like that. It's not necessarily true. I hated it. Especially the last several years. And me and my second wife was split up, and I had taken my son back because I couldn't take care of him, because I was drinking so and drugged, and I couldn't drag him down with me, He was 8, and I took him back home, and I was already told not to go back to Grandview, Texas.
Oh, God.
So they walked me out of town, the police did, through town during the middle of the day, and the people would come out to the sidewalk on the square. And this was right down through town. It's got a red brick road in Grandview. I don't know if you've ever been to Grandview. It's still there. And the people would come out to town. I mean, out of the bank and out of the, stores in town. And they was watching. The police had their lights on behind me, walking me out of town.
Literally walking you.
Walking me out of town. Okay. And so...
did you have your car parked at the outside of town?
I didn't have a car at the time.
So how far did you have to walk?
I had to walk all the way from the apartment complex by the railroad track all the way out to the highway, and then after I got on the highway, after I walked to the highway, they turned around and went back.
Damn.
But that's what that Sweet Rain song is about. Because I was thinking back, because when you get older, and I've been clean and sober for 32 years now.
Yeah.
And I got into recovery then, but that was the day I decided I'd had enough.
Yeah.
On that day, but I didn't believe I could quit, but I didn't know if I could stay living.
Yeah.
I mean, it was serious business, and it could get so serious that that you're not afraid. You're more afraid of living than you are dying, and that's what it came to me.
As far as all the starting and stopping, deciding that you're going to quit, giving it a shot, failing, and then going back into that repetitious pattern of drinking and drug use again. I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name. He's a comedian. He rolls around with that Joe Rogan crew, but he said something that I think is probably going to always stick with me. He says he kind of like you're talking about. He was miserable. He hated it. But every time he would quit, he'd end up going back to it. He said he got comfortable with making mistakes or comfortable with giving in or something like that. It was less to do with wanting it so bad as just giving up. Giving up and going back into that cycle. And I just butchered whatever quote it was that I said was so substantial, but but it was something to that effect. It wasn't necessarily that he missed it, so he ran back to it. It's that he got comfortable with fucking up, and I think that's more along the lines of what he said.
And that's what it is too. Is you can't fix what's in your head with what's in your head.
Yeah.
And that's what it was for me. I would try to quit on my own, but I couldn't. I didn't believe I could do it. And if you don't believe you can do it, you can't.
Yeah.
And it's why when I got in recovery, all my life, people had told me, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, you just need to quit doing it, But I didn't know how. And when I got into recovery, people showed me how to do it.
Yeah. So everybody had a solution, but it wasn't one that worked for you. What was the difference in that last turnaround? What actually got you to finally motivate yourself to hang it up? And
okay, it's gonna get dark.
Okay, here we go. We're ready. Come on, folks.
I got home. I told you they walked me out of town, and I decided I'm done.
Yeah. In more ways than one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was living in this little bitty camper in between Alvarado and Grandview. And out in the country, way out. It was out in the middle of a pasture.
Yeah.
And it was one of the little round ones, the little tiny ones.
Did you have water out there?
Yeah, it had water, well water coming to it.
Electricity?
But, it did have electricity. But I had those little tanks for gas.
Yeah, propane.
Yeah, and it had one of those little camper stoves that you set on the counter.
Yeah.
And that night before I went to bed, I had a little bit of whiskey left in a bottle, and I finished that whiskey, and I turned the gas on and didn't light it.
Just left it?
And laid down. And the next morning I woke up, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. I mean, it was the clearest day I've ever seen it. And it didn't have no shades in that little camper, so it was just bright. And And the first thing that came to my mind wasn't that I didn't die last night. It was that I drank that last whiskey and had nothing to drink. What am I going to do now? I was more worried about the alcohol than it was that I didn't die. And I went out and looked at the tank, and it ran out of butane in the middle of the night.
Jesus, man.
So that's the only reason I'm here now,
Yeah.
And anyway, I went, there's at 67 and 35 in Alvarado, there's 4 ways you can go there. I walked into Alvarado from there, and I was sitting there, and I was going to step out in front of one of them trucks.
So you're still in a bad place the next morning.
I was detoxing by then.
Yeah.
and I was going to step out in front of one of them trucks. And as I was fixing to cross over that white line to step out, I just thought came to my head, if it don't kill you, it's going to hurt.
A lot.
And I don't mind dying. I wasn't mind dying, but I sure didn't want to hurt. So I went back and sat down, and I've never been a religious person, and I'm still not just super religious. But I said, God, I got myself here. I said, either kill me or show me where to go.
Yeah.
And I got up and started walking towards Cleburne.
You were a walking kind of dude back then.
Yeah, I walked everywhere because I didn't ever have a car. They were always taking it away from me. And I started walking towards Cleveland, and a Seventh-day Adventist preacher picked me up and took me to a friend that there was an assistant pastor of church, and they put me up in the Greenbrier in Cleveland. Well, back then, the Greenbrier was a drug-infested, and that's where I sobered up at. I went to a meeting that night.
And what was Greenbrier supposed to be?
It was just a junky hotel.
Oh, okay.
It's not now. It's really nice. Now it's I can't remember what they call it now. They went in, fixed it up, made it into a real fancy place, but it wasn't that way then.
Yeah.
And I started going to recovery meetings, and I still go.
Yeah.
I hadn't used or drank in 32 years, but I learned how, you can't fix things that's wrong with you if you don't know what it is, and I learned, what is it about myself that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And
did that guy that picked you up, the minister, did he ever find out just how bad of a place you were in whenever he picked you up?
I don't know. I can't even, I never knew. I don't even remember his name. Never,
That was a rough morning.
And sometimes you can do things in life for people, and you don't know that you may have saved their life.
For sure. That's what.
Just by being kind. Wondering.
Yeah.
Just by being kind, and never know it.
Yeah. That's been present in my mind a lot since COVID. Because there's so many people that were hurting back then.
Yeah.
People are always hurting. Life is rough, but especially back then, divorce rates went up, triple. I remember seeing some kind of news story or article or a officer, and I don't know that this was Fort Worth, but somebody was talking about how the teen suicide rate had tripled.
Yeah.
During 2020, there was so there was a lot going on, but to support what you're saying, you just never know what somebody's got going on.
And that's why, sometimes it's a hard, some of those things, that I write about, in my songs.
I was going to ask you about that.
People don't know that that's what I'm writing about a lot of times, but
recovery is a big part of your message, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to, in recovery, you have to look inside yourself, and see, and stop blaming everybody else and start taking responsibility for your own actions.
Sure.
That's the whole thing, is you have to, look, not it's nobody's fault but my own, that I'm in my, because if I blame it on everybody else, you ain't gonna fix it.
So a lot of times these addictive tendencies are more of a symptom of a different problem, maybe.
Yeah. It's alcohol is just a symptom of what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And once I got into recovery, and started finding out what was wrong with me. You can fix it.
Yeah.
It's like, if your car keeps messing up, you try to fix it yourself and you can't fix it, take it to a mechanic.
Somebody knows what's going on. Yeah.
Well, you wasn't even looking in the right place, dude.
But this many years later, and you're gigging, you're at a bar, you're at a venue, and they're serving up alcohol, and everybody's passing drinks around. Do you ever have a tinge of a desire there, or is it more of a repulsion?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. It doesn't faze me.
Not one way or the other.
But now, early on, I couldn't have done it.
Couldn't have been around it.
No.
Yeah.
But now, it's been 32 years, and I don't even notice people drinking unless they get stupid. But I don't. That doesn't bother me either. It's just I still go to meetings. Because I realize that it's just alcohol is just a symptom, but that's why I always mention this, like when I'm at a show or something, is there is hope, and for people not to give up, because I did give up, and I'm just lucky I didn't. Yeah. That I'm here today, but I want people to know that there's answers out there to get a hold of somebody, and don't get don't do it, because there is a solution to your problem.
Yeah,
you just got to find it, and make a call somebody, no matter who it is, call them if you get to feeling like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a phone at the time.
Right. Yeah, Bill sitting on the side of the road back in his 30s was a different story.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But
thank God somebody came by and scooped you up, though, because it might have been a matter of minutes before you figured out another way to try something creative, right?
I've been married and had a child. I coached baseball, and had a successful construction company for years, and then I got to play music, So I've had since I got sober, I've had a really good life,
Yeah.
And just, it makes you grateful, for everything
That's great to hear. We got a little off track earlier. I was asking you about places that you played, and I was, the reason I was asking that is because I wanted to know if I already know the answer to this, but I want to hear you say it. I wanted to know if you thought there was something different about Fort Worth as compared to other places that you've played. You were talking earlier about Fort Worth musicians and the community just kind of welcoming you in and allowing you to work through your process and learn to play music. Do you feel like you would have gotten as far as you did with your creative journey in another city?
No, I think, and see, I live in Cleveland, so there's nothing going on there.
Right.
Nothing. And so Fort Worth, is where I have most of my play. I play some in Granbury, but I play mostly in Fort Worth, and that's where more songwriting is more accepted.
Yeah.
Because a lot of places don't want original music, and now that's all I play. I don't even remember any covers. It's been so long since I played them. I don't even remember them.
Yeah.
And when I get a gig, I tell people I do originals. That's all I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything against covers. It's just
right, not your thing.
It's just not. Well, with my voice, I'm not going to sing Frank Sinatra songs.
A little restricted, yeah.
or George Strait.
I'm always surprised that, any venue would not want you to play your own music. 'Cause we were talking about this before we started recording, but there's a huge fine that comes with, one of those people coming in and they're doing on-spot audits to see if you're playing somebody else's music, and they'll hit the venue with a huge fine.
Yeah.
So if I had a place like a coffee shop or a bar, I would love to just have original content.
Well, there are places that's what they want you to do is play, originals as much as you can,
And for our listeners that don't know, if the venue that you're at does not pay, there's a certain organization. Do you know who it is?
Yeah, I believe I'm not sure. It says that ASCAP and BFMI or whatever.
That sounds right, yeah. And if you don't pay this fee to them, then they'll send somebody in there to check to make sure that you're not playing music that is, I guess, copywritten or sung by another artist that somebody else has the rights to. And if you do have an artist up there and they are playing this music, then they'll hit your venue with like a $5,000 fine.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then every time they come back and catch you again, I think it increases.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the artists don't get the money.
Well, they're not the ones getting hit with the fine, right? It's the venue.
Yeah. But like I belong to ASCAP as the one that's mine because it's more artist owned, I guess they're supposed to be. And there's BMI and there's a couple of other ones, but my songs are registered through them, and it's so that like when they play them like in Europe and stuff, but you don't get very much.
You're supposed to get some money from that.
Yeah, but it's not very much. They'd have to pay over $1 million before you get any kind of money.
Kind of like Spotify or Pandora.
Yeah, I've got them on Spotify and iTunes and YouTube Music and Amazon Music. And
so
all
people
that.
can listen to you on all those?
Yeah, they can buy my songs and stuff. I've got.
Well, man, I think it's time to get that guitar out, don't you?
All right.
Let's take a quick pause and I'll start moving some stuff around.
Okay.
Yeah, that microphone, I wish I could get it a little closer to you, but that's about as far as we can go there.
Oh, is it? I can scoot up if.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you got room for it.
Yeah, my voice and my harmonica's louder than my voice. It's real rough.
That's all right. They know it's not studio quality. We'll be all right.
All right. All right. How do you want to just
get it, brother? Whatever you want to play for us. Now, tell us what it is. Is this off of your first album, second album?
Yeah, this song here is off my first album. It's called Sweet Rain.
Oh,
it's
good.
the name of my first album.
This is the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And let's see. Yeah, this is the name of my first album, and the red bricks. I went to Grandview and took a picture of that road that I was walking down, the red brick road, and that's the album cover too on this.
Oh, okay. So you went and took a picture and used that for the album
cover of that brick road, and it was really weird. Like 20 years to the day, they have a stage out there, a Firefly stage. And Uncle Lucius has played there, and several really pretty good. But I was playing there 20 years to the day that they walked me out of that town. And I was up on stage, and there was like 400 people there.
Did you bring that story up during that?
No. I remember I was thinking, I looked at the date, and I went, oh, that's weird.
That is weird. So you didn't plan that?
No.
Just happened to be.
Yeah, so
how about that?
20 years exactly to the day.
That's something right there. I don't know what that is, but that's weird. Something.
And so when I did this album, I went back and took a picture of that road.
Excellent.
This is called Sweet Rain. Dirty red road. These are the stand. What am I on? Keep Dreams I had for the whiskey all long since didn't go. Outside looking in, this must seem the same. You sure don't like come near. See someone you like, that's the game. Stranded at the crossroads, knowing I can't stay. Oh, can you hear me now? Show me the way. 'Cause I can do my best to go where you choose. You know it's easy to have faith. You got nothing to lose. That's to me. Oh yeah, now some kind of reason. Oh, now. You know this can't all be vain. Well, how sweet the smell of rain.
You can't hear it, but I got applause going right now on the soundboard. It's a whole crowd. He doesn't have his headset on right now, so he couldn't hear it, but the folks heard it. All right, man, that was incredible.
Well, I appreciate it.
And that one was written, you said 2019?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure when that one was.
Yeah.
I was, I got, in 2014, the first year I wrote like, I was writing songs like crazy when I first started. I mean, they were just pouring out. And the first year I wrote, I was selected to Texas Troubadour Songwriter of the Year. And
For that song?
no, for another one.
Oh, okay.
Well, there was a couple other ones that I did. And Hal Ketchum, I don't know if you know who Hal Ketchum is. He was big in the 90s.
Okay.
Small Town, he sang Small Town Saturday Night.
Okay, yeah, no, I know that
He
one.
He had some pretty good hits. And he came backstage, and I didn't even know if my songs were any good or not. And he came back in the green room, and he told me, he said, you need to keep writing. He said, you're a real songwriter.
That's excellent.
You know,
it's a high commendation right there.
Yeah, and coming from him, that was but being because when you write your songs, you really don't know if other people's gonna like it or not. And when I write, I don't really worry about playing them out.
Yeah.
When I write one, it's like I'll never play. I'm thinking I might not ever play because I've got songs I never played out.
So it just kind of sneaks up on you.
And then I've got other songs that I didn't play out for years, and then all of a sudden I play them out and people like them. It's like, Well, dang, I didn't think nobody.
Should have been playing that for years. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, you got another one for us?
Yeah.
If you get tired of playing, let me know.
This is a kind of a different. This is the more of kind of Americana song.
Okay.
I play some blues, quite a bit of blues, but I have songs that I wrote that's more Americana. But this one's another one that's kind of, not all my songs are recovery. A lot of them are just different things. I got one that's kind of a Halloween song. It's called Skeletons in My Closet. Then I got another song that I wrote about kind of bad relationships, and it's called Crazy Ass You.
I haven't heard the song, but it sounds very fitting.
Yeah. You ever know where I'm talking about, me or my girlfriend? But this one's about a couple of years ago. I had been in recovery. People are like family, you know, and a couple of years ago we had some friends that lost some kids to opioids.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem, especially and then you have people in recovery that go back out and they don't make it back.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it kind of worse because they, you know them really good, for years.
Yeah.
Back out. And this song kind of strange too, because when I was going to do the album, when I was going to do the song, I was going to put it out as a single. And there was a girl in the group that she was real pretty, and she had really long, kind of auburn red hair. She was real pretty, and I was going to have her do the single cover on it.
Yeah.
With a backpack like she was leaving, town or whatever,
Yeah.
And we were waiting till fall came, because the song's about fall, there's fall in it. And we were waiting, and it got real rainy, and I couldn't do it because we were going to do it out on 299 towards Glen Rose,
Okay.
And 199. But she went back out, and she passed away, and me and my wife were in at JPS with her when they unplugged her, and her daughter and her mama was there.
God,
so,
Bill.
Boy, sometimes this song, and so I get some, this song sometimes is hard to do.
Yeah.
But it was just, and I played this at her memorial. This song is the name of my second album. It's called Destiny. someone. There was no one there to tell. Just a stain on a pillow. One lonely teardrop fell. Where destiny is calling. She lies tears down her face. Love won't always find your way. When destiny's calling, she lies tears go down her face. Love won't always find your way.
Man, that's beautiful. I can see how you'd get choked up playing that. You get choked up listening to it.
Yeah, a lot of my songs aren't real depressing, but some of them are.
Yeah. Well,
Life's not always.
and knowing the story behind it before you played it, you know?
Yeah. And life's not always fun, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but
I bet people came unglued when you played that at the memorial.
oh yeah, but it was weird too because I was sitting I had to sit on the steps, you know, where the and I was sitting on the steps, and her mother and her daughter were sitting on the front row, and I had to look down at the floor because I couldn't look up.
Jesus. Yeah, no, I can imagine, man. Jesus.
You know, I just couldn't do it because if I'd looked up there, I couldn't finish it.
How old was she when she passed?
She was 32, something like that.
Damn. Just,
She was really sweet too, you know. She just, and her daughter was 8 at the time, you know, and they were close.
that's rough,
You know.
man. Yeah.
It's just, you know, and it was pretty hard because she used to come. She was real close, like say where you get to be family, and she was real close. And she had spent Christmas and Thanksgiving with us, you know, her and her daughter and her mom would come, you know. So it was kind of a rough deal.
Jesus, man. Yeah. Man, that's
You
so
know.
so tragic.
But you know, being in recovery, you learn that, you know, you get to where you enjoy every day, you know, and so.
You don't know if the people around you are going to
Yeah.
make it through that recovery.
Yeah.
Right? Or stick with it.
Yeah, and it's, you know, but that one thing recovery teaches you how to live life on life's terms, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, some people, a lot of people do naturally, people in recovery have to learn how to do it. You know,
And
they have to actually work at doing it.
Which aspect are you referring to?
Well, acceptance.
Yeah.
Accepting things the way they are, you know, and because a lot of addicts, and I'm sure everybody that knows an addict would agree with me, addicts are pretty selfish people.
Yeah.
You know, we must be important because that's all we ever think about.
Well, I definitely am not
They're
picking.
very sensitive people too.
I'm not picking up any selfish vibes from Bill.
Well, you learn, that's the first thing that you have to do, and that's one thing big in recovery, is you have to learn to give away
Yeah.
to keep it, you know. Yeah. And you actually learn how, and I know this sounds crazy, but knowing something and realizing it is two different things.
Yeah. having the
You
information.
can know people have feelings, but realizing other people have feelings is different.
Yeah. The difference between reading a book and understanding a book.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned is, I knew people had feelings because I'd see them crying, but I didn't realize that when I hurt people.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how I hurt people.
Yeah.
And then they retaliate, and then I was like, what'd you do that to me for?
Clueless.
In my life, I treat my wives or girlfriends like crap. And then, and then when they leave me, it's like, women are,
Yeah.
I had a friend one time that we were sitting in his kitchen, we was talking about it, and he was in recovery, but he was struggling. And we were sitting there in the kitchen, and he was going, I don't know, women are just sorry and all this stuff. He was griping about women. And he said, all women or every woman, I guess, just no good and everything. And his son was like 10 years old, and he said, Dad, water finds its own level.
Oh, my God. Oh, wow.
It's like, I looked at it like, yeah, there you go, boy.
Damn, dude.
Water
Got
finds
roasted
its
by
own
his
level.
10-year-old son.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a good
like, there's some wisdom right there.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. Sure. Wow. Well, you want to play one more, or have you had enough?
No, I can try to play one. This is kind of a new one. I got a lot of, like rock and roll stuff and things like that. But this is kind of a new one, and
Is this going to be on the new album?
yes, yeah, it's
Oh, you're breaking out the pick.
yeah,
I noticed you were playing with that one these last two songs.
yeah. I need a pick for this one. Well, I'll probably forget the words. That's the way I usually, when I get a new song, I usually forget the words to them. And and you wouldn't think that people that you would forget the words to your own songs, but it's actually easier to forget the words to your own songs than just covers, because you've been listening to covers for 30 years,
Right.
and you just now learned. And this is a song about sometimes relationships work. How you go back and sometimes you get into a relationship and try to fix it. And think, well, let's try it again and see if it works again. Well, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't.
Amen.
So that's what this song's about. It's called Ashes. Don't know why that I still care. All the Lord's in charge. Life's just unfair. She talks in circles about life for change. But lost like a whisper in a hurricane. Retracing the steps to a pathway, yeah, back home. It's been covered in ashes and left all but gone. Behind soft eyes of sea reveals the pain. But honey, how deep runs the scar? slide down in the driving rain. But darling, I can meet you where you are. Retracing the steps to a pathway, get back home. Been covered up with ashes now, and left all but gone. Broken heart seeks attention, gets dumped and tossed aside. To defeat our submission, yet the hopeless can rise. So lay down beside me, girl. You won't touch rules tonight. And if we can just stay out of our own way, baby, this old wrong could be right. That's right. Retracing the steps to a pathway, get back home. Fresh footprints are left on where the old ones are gone.
That was amazing, man. You're really killing that guitar. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So it gives me a little bit of hope, because I thought that in order to be a talented a musician like yourself, you had to kind of grow up doing it.
Yeah, and I don't really, I tried to get better at the guitar, but I'm more Guthrie. I learned a lot from Guthrie Kennard. He's been playing for so long, and he's played but it's more about dynamics and try to get better at that. You don't have to know a million chords.
Yeah.
Mary Goucher always says 3 chords and the truth.
There you go.
It's all you need, 3 chords and the truth. And, and so sometimes you can I think I can, I don't want to overburden myself with becoming a great guitar player.
Yeah.
Because I'm 67 years old. I'm not going to spend the next 10 years of my life learning how to play guitar and not write no songs.
Right.
Just
well, what you do know sounds great.
Enjoy it,
Yeah.
One time,
you ready to throw the headset back on?
Oh yeah.
Let's do that. Anyway, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Yeah. One time when I first started learning to play, I didn't know very many songs, but I was learning this one song, and it was somebody that had a really good voice. And my voice is what it is. And people ask me, how'd you get a voice like that? I said, a lot of whiskey and methamphetamine.
Just cooked it till it came out just right.
Yeah, you smoked 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I would have smoked 4, but didn't have time,
God, you can't smoke 4 packs now. You
No,
got to be a rich man to smoke 4 packs of cigarettes a day.
Well, I quit after I had my heart attack.
Oh, yeah. That'll get your attention, right?
I always wait till the last minute to do something. But I was sitting in my office, and I was playing this song, and I was trying to learn it the way that somebody, I don't even remember what the name of the song is now, but it was somebody that had a good voice.
Yeah.
Probably Eric Clapton or somebody like that. And my wife came in there and she went, she's a nurse. Nurses are a little more,
Very to the point.
yeah, very to the point, a little more than what you'd like sometimes. And she come in, she said, "Oh my God," she said, "that sounds terrible."
Thanks for the support.
And she said, "Quit trying to sound like everybody else."
Well, that's a good.
And she said, "Just play it the way that you play it."
Yeah.
And it hurt my feelings. So I put my guitar up and didn't play it for about a month. I thought, man, I suck. I suck. I ain't never going to be any good at this. And and she didn't mean to hurt my feelings. She would just give me, her advice. And about a month later, I picked the guitar back up and I learned the song, but this time I learned it the way that I would want to play it.
Yeah.
And it was like it opened up a whole new world to me.
Yeah. Came out probably a little better that time.
Yeah, it did. And I told her, I said, whenever, I said, I would have never wrote a song if you hadn't have told me that.
Yeah.
Because, and sometimes you have to take criticism for what it is,
Sure.
And Steve Seskin told me he wrote "Life's a Dance." You remember that song?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He's wrote a lot of different songs. He's a really good songwriter. He told me, he said, "You got to be yourself because everybody else is taken."
Yeah. I've heard that before.
Yeah, and I've heard that. I've heard it since. But when he told me that, and and for me, it just. I have to play it the way that I do it, because I have like I said, I have no range in my voice at all.
Well, you've made quite a name for yourself. I saw that by looking for information on you, and you're definitely somebody that the community appreciates, and you've gotten the attention of all the people that I know inside the Fort Worth music circuit. So it's obvious that you've got their respect too. So whatever you're doing it right.
Well, it means a lot to me. It really does. In personal level for just to be around some. We played at the Post. I played with Guthrie and Jim Hinkle, James Hinkle, and oh gosh, I can't remember now. Jesse Spalding, and Jacob
Fur. Yeah.
And I mean, just to sit on the stage with them people was like,
That's its own reward, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I was sitting in the middle, and I'm looking over both sides of it, and I'm going, oh my gosh.
A lot of talent on that stage.
And just, they're just the best people in the whole world, I just love being around them, and Ryan Thorpe, he's a really great guy, and Buddy Whittington, and just all them people, they're just really...
Well, I hope they listen to this. I hope they get to hear you complimenting them so much. I'm sure they'd say the same about you.
Well, I hope so. I'm just glad that, how I appreciate them accepting, how accepting, me they are, so.
Yeah. Well, do you have a place that you gig at pretty frequently or any residencies?
No, not really. I play at a lot of different places, because like I said, I do a lot of song swaps with different people, and I play with Guthrie Kennard a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm playing with him next week in Denton.
Okay.
And
where at?
Shuck Me.
Okay.
It's a restaurant, and then I didn't have a whole lot of stuff set. I play a lot in Granbury, and then I play at Lola's some. I've played at Lola's.
Have you been to the new one?
Uh-huh.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I like what they've done out
We've
there.
got some good spots, man, and you named off two of them, the Post and Lola's. Those are great little spots.
Oh, yeah. I love, and the sound's real good at Lola's.
Did you ever play at Mass?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
That's still a sore subject.
And the Grotto, I played there. That was a good place too.
And where was the grotto?
It was over there off West. It's not far from West 7th. I can't even remember exactly but it's over in that arts district.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what street that was on, but it wasn't far from the old Fred's, and Magnolia and all that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of really, iconic spots lately. Mass being,
especially over there.
Well, they destroyed 7th.
Yeah,
it was kind of it was Fort Worth's best kept secret there for a minute, and then it got really popular, and now it's annoyingly overrun by children.
Yeah. I pulled up there one day. This was a few years ago. We was playing at Fred's, and it's like, you walk around and it's like they have playgrounds for adults.
Yeah. Okay, so you're talking about the previous Fred's. Yeah, seriously.
Across the streets and stuff. It's like, it looks like playgrounds for adults.
And some of that stuff, I'll be honest with you, Bill, some of that stuff was fun. Like, I think, didn't they have seesaws out there at Kung Fu?
Yeah.
Kung Fu Saloon, I think they had some. Yeah, I know they did. And, you walk into something like that, and you're like, holy shit, that's a seesaw. Try to keep me off of it. I'm definitely getting on the seesaw.
Yeah, it's like,
And
they're really good.
How many awesome fails did people catch on camera for their social media content? Watching drunk people go ass over tea kettle.
Yeah. Well, see, when I was a teenager, we'd get drunk and go out to the river and jump off of trees.
Yeah. So some of that stuff's fun, but
a tree,
but it brought in a crowd that you don't want to be around.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm getting a little old, I guess, but like Bodega was a really cool little spot before everybody found it.
Yeah.
There's all these little cool spots that were, kind of, I don't know, revolutionary. It was a new idea. It was a fresh spin on something.
Yeah.
And then it, people found it. It got popular. And so how do you avoid that? I don't think you can, not in a city the size of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Now they're going to put up a bunch of hotel buildings over there, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe apartments. They've already got a ton of apartments over there, but they're just going to keep building and building.
Well, like over in Dallas, too, I played the Deep Ellum Art Festival last year. They're done with that. They're not going to do that no more.
Is it because Deep Ellum turned into an absolute cesspool?
Yeah, and the parking over there, the last time I was over there was $26 to park.
Doesn't surprise me. Yeah, you're going to pay at least $15 in Fort Worth, right?
Yeah, it's like, that's a lot of money to park.
Yeah, no kidding. And last time I parked a vehicle in Deep Ellum, my truck window got bashed out, and they stole my camera bag, which should not have been laying out in plain sight.
Yeah.
But since then, I decided if I'm ever going back to Deep Ellum, I will take an Uber.
Yeah.
Because, with parking being as expensive as it is, the risk, plus, are you going to have a couple of drinks?
Yeah.
You probably are. So, except for people like Bill, who will not have a drink. But
yeah, and it doesn't bother me for, people to, like I said, it's just, there's some people that can drink and can handle it. I'm just not one of them.
Yeah. But, long story short, if you're going to Deep Ellum, why take a vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to. You want to get dropped off right in front of trees or wherever else you're going to go to, right at the door, so you don't have to be walking down those streets. And then you want to get right back into that Uber and get out. You don't want to be walking around Deep Ellum.
No. But, it was really weird. I was playing in Granbury, and I set a bag of cords. I shouldn't have had all them cords in the back of my truck. With me. Sometimes I carried too much stuff.
You're just talking about your guitar strings?
Oh, well, no, they were cords.
Okay.
For like
your amp.
And, the XLR cords and my guitar cords.
Right.
But I had like a band. When I play with the band, I used to carry, somebody's cord. So I had 8 guitar cords and probably 10 XLRs and my bullet mic for my harmonica, and then I had a amp mic in this little bag, kind of like the bag that I brought here.
Yeah.
And I was helping the girl that we were playing in this place in Granbury, and you don't think in Granbury that you're going to get your stuff.
Right.
And I went in there just to help her get her amp out.
Uh-huh.
And when I come out, that bag I had set it in the bag just to go help her right quick.
Shit.
Of course, my D28 was locked in my truck because my guitars, I always lock them in the truck.
Yeah.
I don't turn them loose, but this bag, I got to look and these chords are like the chords that I brought today. They're kind of the flex. They're like $34 a piece.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
And there was like 10 of them. And then I had my XLR chords, and they're like $40, the long ones, you know. And I had a whole bunch of them, but they got me for like $800.
Oh my God, Bill!
Worth just in that little bag.
No.
It was like the next day I had to go to the Guitar Center to buy a guitar cord to play with.
Shit. That's awful.
And I was sitting there going, I was figuring it up on the way home, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's $800 to $1,000 they got just out of that bag.
Jeez.
And my monitor was sitting right beside it.
They didn't touch it.
They didn't touch it, and it's like I would have they probably got $20 for all them cords.
Yeah.
I would have rather them took the monitor. It was only $150.
Yeah, yeah.
But
damn it.
You just got to be careful, you know. But you would have never thought, like in Granbury, that somebody would
Right.
take something. But you just never know. You just got to be careful with your equipment all the time.
Humans can be tacky animals. Yeah, for sure. Well, Bill, thank you so much for being on the show, man. I appreciate it so much.
Appreciate you having me. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, and you're always welcome here. In fact, I kind of showed you around the studio. I made you sign that non-disclosure agreement when you got here.
Yeah.
But we might
see here, what you say here,
right. We might do a singer-songwriter thing, there's a place on Camp Bowie. It's a bar. I can't remember the name of it, but they do just a Wednesday night round a campfire.
Oh yeah, Dirty Water Saloon.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
You ever go out there?
Yeah, I played there with old James Norrid.
Yeah, I know him. He's been on the show.
James. I like old James. He's a good guy.
James does seem
he does a
good guy.
lot for music here in Fort Worth too.
Yeah, I caught him at a singer-songwriter that Joe Savage was putting on over there on 7th Street, the playground.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still there or not. I haven't been on 7th in a minute.
I hadn't been there in a while.
Yeah. But anyway, Joe was doing it on the other side of Magnolia Motor Lounge, and I can't remember the name of that place either, but they had a fire, and so he ended up doing the singer-songwriter, I think it was Sundays. He was doing it on Sundays. Anyway, doesn't matter. But that's where I met James Norrid and a bunch of other awesome people.
Yeah. Yeah, I like James. He's just a really nice guy, too.
Yeah. Well, we might do something like that here, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Once in a while. Get some people
come.
together.
Yeah.
I'll have a cooler full of beer and a coffee pot going.
Yeah. I'll bring
Everybody
my tea. I'll bring my tea with me.
There you go. Well, where can people find your music?
Well, it's on Spotify and iTunes and Amazon and all of the streaming.
Okay. Are you on Bandcamp?
I'm not positive about that. I know there's a whole bunch, a big list of.
Well, I'll find as many of those links as I can. I'll put them in the show notes so people can click on them and see your music. And then when is your next album dropping?
Well, I hadn't really decided. Probably sometime later in the year.
Have you started recording yet?
Well, I've got some of them already recorded, but my studio's where I record at is Roughwood, and he had sold his place, and it used to be where the ranch was out there between Mineral Wells and Weatherford.
Okay.
Where the ranch radio station was. But he's moving it, and he's building a new one, so it's Roughwood Studios. And I mean, there's other really great places to do it, but it's just that's a place I feel comfortable.
Yeah, well,
that's where
important.
I started recording, and so I've always felt comfortable with him. And it's important to.
We just had another studio open up here in Fort Worth called Blackstone. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I'm supposed to go out there next Saturday. I'm going to record with Fort Worth Music Academy and Sean Russell.
Yeah,
that'll be a good little recording. But I'm excited to check that place out.
I like Fort Worth Sound too. That's a pretty neat place.
I haven't been in there. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, they do recording, and yeah, I've heard of the Blackstone, and I recorded in Tyler at the Rosewood Studios.
Okay.
You know, that's for Miranda Lambert, I think.
Okay.
Recorded there, and
Yeah.
different ones. But
I'm a big fan of studios. Like they've got a good vibe.
I love to go in the studio. I love to go in the studio because it's just, it just feels good. But, one of the best songs that I ever recorded that came out the best, I thought, was one where we just all went into the big room and played it right there.
That's awesome.
Played it live right there. And I mean, it turned out really good, because, it's pretty good to make, have it all mixed and all that too. But
nice,
it's
clean, pretty.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of, you could feel the difference a little bit in the ones where everybody's in there together.
Yeah. I know Joe over at Cloudland Studios. Is that right? Yeah, Cloudland. They're here in Fort Worth, and he does a lot of analog stuff. And there's a different texture to the sound coming out of analog rather than all digital. And he recognizes that too, so he tries to stick with, I think, analog as much as he can.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, and I get really good musicians that play on. Josh Rogers plays, and he's a fantastic drummer, and I have Milo Deering's played on some of my songs. He's really great. And Guthrie, of course, plays bass, and we've had different ones play on different songs. Cool. Different people. I like it because you get a little different feel.
Just collaborating with all sorts of different musicians. Yeah.
It's pretty neat, though.
That is fun. Well, if you got time for it, whenever you get ready to release that album, you can. We've done this with one other artist where we went through the entire album song by song, kind of talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be
played
fun.
some on the recording. So if you want to do something like that, we'd be down.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd love to do that because I got a couple of songs that are on another album, or that I'm gonna kind of redo. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, I just started. Mm-hmm. And I started recording just right after I started writing, and there's some of them that I wished you wished you'd have done it this way and add, I add some vocals, female vocals to some of them, and different, slides and different
that'll all be on this next album.
Yeah, but then there's some new, quite a few new songs that's going to be on there too. But there's going to be some redone. Some of my other ones, too. So.
Well, hurry up and get that to us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Bill. Well, thank you so much again.
I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
And our door's always open.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, Fort Worth Roots, thank y'all for being here. We'll see you next week. Bye. All right, Bill Sibley, thank you for being on the Fort Worth Roots podcast. I mentioned this in the episode, but you are always welcome to come back and share as many stories with us as you would like any old time. Thank you, Bill. There were a few moments sitting there doing the editing for this episode where I got a little choked up. That song that he played for his friend at the either memorial or funeral, I can't remember which one, has some very touching lyrics, and I would encourage you to go listen to the actual music on Pandora or Spotify. There will be links in the show notes, so it's easy to find them. You could not hear the vocals very well in this recording, so I apologize for that. I'll have to come up with a solution for somebody that is playing a harmonica and cannot use the headset. We're learning things here at the Fort Worth Roots studio, and that's one of the things we learned. Anyway. Great stuff. Very talented man. Didn't pick up a guitar until he was 50. Didn't record until he was 60, I think he said. getting started late in life, but which is cool to me because I see these talented artists, and I just always assume they've been playing guitar or whatever instrument they're playing since they were a child. And for most musicians, that's true, but not for Bill. He picked it up late in life and is making some very incredible music. And not only that, he's found it to be kind of a connecting fiber with the Fort Worth music community, and he's plugged himself in. I don't know. All of it's cool, but you just heard the episode, so I'm over-explaining. All right, let's talk about these sponsors here. woodpostmetalworks.com. We talked about them at the beginning of the episode. Go there and use offer code podcast817. These folks do all the stuff with plasma cutting, and they do a lot of signs for businesses around town, but they can also make you some really heavy metal, badass custom stuff for your house. So check that out. Look at their website, because I never do 100% wonderful job of describing this stuff, but keep Fort Worth dollars in Fort Worth pockets and use these sponsors. We are trying to keep our sponsorship 100% local. I had a gentleman the other day try to wrangle me into a national audience with a company that works all over the U.S. And I was like, look, man, I appreciate it, but I'm trying to do something a little different here. We want to keep those dollars in them Fort Worth pockets. Yeah. So anyway, go check them out and get 10% off by using offer code podcast817. One more time, that's woodpostmetalworks.com. Houk Walker, I'm breathing funny. I'm okay. We're good. Houk Walker Originals. Go to houkwalker.com. They offer a huge variety of unique and personalized gifts. Also, laser engraving to customize just about anything you can think of. Again, that is houkwalker.com. Both Wood Post Metalworks and our friends at Houk Walker Originals. These are just really, really sincerely nice people. And if you are looking for a business to support, which I think nowadays, as the economy starts to slow down and America is getting ready to become a second world nation, you know, we're having trouble accessing basic things like food and water. We're going to have to decide who we want to support. And rather than buying all your crap on Amazon or Walmart, going to Walmart and picking stuff up, there are wonderful people inside our community that are, you know, producing products that you could not only support a local business, but come up with a really exceptional gift idea, something that nobody else is going to have. You can make it custom. You can put a little extra love into it. So for a birthday party, you want to show up at Second Rodeo here in Fort Worth. No, not Second Rodeo. We wouldn't go there. We would go to Pouring Glory, and we'd have our birthday party at Pouring Glory. That's what we would do. And you want to show up with a really badass gift for this person that you're throwing a birthday party for. You would go to Houk Walker Originals, and you would find something custom. And if it wasn't exactly the way you wanted it, you could call Angela over there at Houk Walker Originals, and you could say, hey, I really like this one thing, but could we make it a little more like this? And she'd be like, well, yeah, I think we can do that. Just cool stuff. Okay. Now, the whole imaginary scenario that I just made up for you. houkwalker.com. They offer a huge variety. We already said that, Andrew. You don't have to repeat it. Anyway, go check them out. houkwalker.com. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk. I have been putting out videos and all sorts of information on the social media sites for our buddy Darren. Because there was a really weird storm that blew through here the other day. And right before that, I think a week earlier, there was a little hailstorm that blew through here. But the amount of damage that the wind storm caused, and then this little tornado scare with some hail in it, that caused some damage too. I think there's a lot of people that are needing to take second looks at the roofs. So anyway, I've been pumping out all these videos with Darren talking good stuff about roofs and whatnot. But this is the guy to call. I'm failing today. I'm not doing a good job of talking about this stuff. But Darren Houk, my friend, our sponsor at Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk, is the gentleman to call if you think you have any kind of damage up on your old roofer there, on top of your most important investment. They do a, what's it called? Roofing tune-up. I told you I'm not doing good today. All right. The roofing tune-up, which you get for 50% off because you're a Fort Worth Roots podcast listener, you can give them a call, and Darren will show up with a caulking gun and maybe a can of paint, a spray paint, and he'll get up on your roof, and he will reseal the pipe jacks and things like that. Points of entry that just need water entry, points of entry that just need some attention on an annual basis. Because when it's 110 degrees outside, that caulking that goes around your pipe jacks wears away, gets all, flaky. So you need to replace that. If you're not doing it, that's okay. Don't feel bad about it, but call Darren. He'll do it for you. And great time to do it. Just had some high winds. I think somebody said 90 mile an hour straight line winds. That sounds insane to me, but then driving down I-20 towards Weatherford, you see all these road signs that are just, snapped off of their posts. They've got these big metal, like H, what do they call that? It's not angle iron. It's like an H sticking out of the ground. H iron? Anyway, looks pretty heavy duty, and the wind just snapped it off at the base. It's kind of crazy. I didn't know wind could do that. But if you think that the wind did that to a sign and didn't damage your roof, just take a look at it. And if you got any idea that there might be a problem, give Darren a call. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk, 817-692-8496. I hope Darren or any of our other sponsors don't hear this episode because I just totally butchered everybody's information. But you can get Darren at 817-692-8496. To all my sponsors, I'll do better next week. I promise. And the individual that is probably responsible for my busted concentration today, Scott, over there at Pouring Glory. Wonderful establishment, wonderful food. And what I'm going to do, I asked him today, I was like, have you started listening to the show since I started talking about Pouring Glory? And he's like, no, I got a pretty busy schedule. I got no time for no podcasts. It's like, okay, Scott, I get it. There's no hurt feelings here. No hurt feelings whatsoever. Promise. But he hasn't heard the show since we started talking good things about Pouring Glory. But what I'm going to slow pitch to him is, hey, man, we need a Fort Worth Roots podcast discount. Yeah. Maybe you could, one item on the menu say, okay, this thing right here, the Gouda mac and cheese, 20% off for Fort Worth Roots. That's not a thing yet, folks. Don't go asking about it because it's not a thing yet. But come on, we could do that, right? It's going to have to be a conversation that we have with Scott. And he's going to be a little leery of that discount because I'm in there twice a week. He's going to lose money on us. So, anyway, I don't know. But go check out Pouring Glory if you haven't been there. We're always doing stuff there. I'm working on 2 events now. Three events out there at Pouring Glory for the year of 2023. It's going to be good stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. I love being out there because the folks are just super awesome. What does that mean, Andrew? It's just a comfortable environment, and they're nice people. I like being in comfortable environments around nice people. I'm also very picky about what kind of underwear I'll wear. Now you know all those things. You're welcome. Pouring Glory is located kind of off of Main Street, just off of, is that Lancaster? I think so. Rosedale or Lancaster? Rosedale. Anyway, you remember where Mass was? And it's now Cicada. Well, if you were standing at what is now Cicada, and you were looking to the east, there's a building there, right in your way, right across the street from Cicada. Well, if you were to just He-Man smash that building with your palm, flatten it out like a pancake, right in front of you would be Pouring Glory. I've said enough things today, right? I need to get back over to the computer and finish this thing up. Okay. All right. Events, real quick. April 7th. You heard me talk about this a minute ago. Psychedelic Panther, April 7th. Come out there. Put it on your schedule. Come see me. It's not an option. I'm not asking you. You will be there, okay? Now, the thing that is an option is, are you going to bring 1 dog or 2? Actually, I don't even know if they're dog friendly. I bet they are. Just bring your dogs, and that's not an option either. Bring all of them. Don't bring one. What are the other pets going to do? if you just bring one dog. They're going to wonder all day, where that dog's at and why they didn't get to go. So bring all the dogs. 420. It's on a Thursday. We're going to be there too. Pouring Glory, not Lola's. April 7th is at Lola's. And then April 20th, 420, that is at Pouring Glory. You can absolutely bring your dog to that one. Whether or not you'll be able to take him off the leash is up to Scott. That's also not an option. You have to be there as well. You listen to this podcast, so by maritime law, it is required that you make it out there to the 420 event at Pouring Glory. It's going to be good. Denver Williams is playing, and there's going to be a couple other bands. It sounds like Scott is still ironing out some details. But take it easy. It's okay. We got some time for this. All you need to worry about is what kind of hat you're going to wear. It's a hat day. Everybody's going to be wearing a hat. So pick out a good hat. And then be there. April 20th. It's a Thursday. For the 420 at Pouring Glory. And then, of course, our main event. Our main event for the year, probably. River Oaks Springfest Car Show. That's our homie Darren putting this thing on with the help of a lot of local organizations. Last year they had somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 people show up to this. And right now today, if you're listening to this, you can probably still get vendor space. I can't imagine anybody that does vendor booth events not wanting to go to this. Last year there were 88 vendors. This year there's definitely going to be more. We didn't have any analytics to go off last year. So that is going to be April 22nd. It is at YMCA Camp Carter, and it is called the River Oaks Springfest Car Show. They've got a website, Facebook, all the good stuff. Easy to find. All right. Jesus, that's it. It is a Sunday for sure. I was telling somebody today, Sarah, out there at Pouring Glory, that I'm getting whooped. I'm going to have to find a new method for making this happen, because we're 2 years into releasing an episode every single Monday, and I am starting to break. I gotta come up with a thing, some kind of system here. I need a co-host. I need a co-host that can take over once in a while. Here, you do it this week. It's not gonna happen. It's all me. I got this. Anyway, I'm doing good. Let me give you that phone number. I put it on last week's recording. Somebody left us a voicemail. So whatever, I think this is episode 130, 129. We played the voicemail that somebody left us, and it was really ridiculous. But you can also leave us a ridiculous voicemail. 817-988-1292. But if you leave us a ridiculous voicemail, you're going to sound ridiculous, just so you know, because I will play it. Fair warning. Okay, we talked about sponsors. We talked about events. Did we talk about how much I appreciate you? Thank you for listening. The analytics for the show are through the roof. I don't know what happened. I really don't. But we've got a lot of people listening to the show, and that's relative. Relative to the last 2.5 years. We have more people listening to the Fort Worth Roots podcast by a lot, relatively, to the last 2.5 years. So whatever you guys are doing to support us, it's paying off, and I appreciate it very, very much. It's the only reason I'm able to keep going on these Monday episodes. It's not too much work. It's just a lot. But I do it for you because you keep listening. Thank you. And if you really want to support the show, you can go to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and give us a like. Give us a like, and then share us. Share us to your friends. Be like, hey, look, there's a local podcast doing all sorts of cool stuff. I'm going to tell you this because it's at the very end of the episode, and I don't think too many people listen all the way to the end. But you do, because you're a super fan. We've got the Fort Worth Fire Department and the Fort Worth Police Department on the schedule to sit down with us here in the studio. April 7th. And I'm really excited about this recording. I don't like telling you stuff that hasn't happened yet, because there's always a possibility that might not happen. So, but I just really wanted to tell you that one because it seems like a big deal. I really like it. And we're going to try to, I've already talked to them about this. We're going to try to work something out where they've kind of got us on speed dial. Anytime they want to talk about PSA, like information to the public or whatever, they can use Fort Worth Roots as an avenue to get information out to the local people. So anyway, I hope that works out. I hope people like Dustin and Stubbs and Javier, are real wild cards. I hope they don't say anything to scare off people like that, with their craziness. What am I talking about? I don't know. Okay. All right. We're out of here. I'm going to close this up, finish the editing, post it, and it will be ready for your Monday ride to work or whatever you do. Some of you people don't work. And let me tell you something. I want to get on your level, not having to work. I'm not mad at you. Just tell me how you did it. Okay, that's it. I love you. Have a wonderful week. And we are going to be releasing another episode this week with the Tips and Obermiller band. Hillary and Steve have an event coming up like March 24th. So I had to expedite this. And we need to clear the backlog anyway, so we're working on it. So at least by Thursday evening, you're getting another episode this week. And next week is looking to be about the same. Yeah, burnout's a real thing, brother. And here's my solution. I'm just going to push right through it. Okay, all right. All right, see you. All right, bye. All right, bye. Bye.
Hello.
What was that? I tried to call you back and went straight to voicemail.
Oh, I went to call one of my other friends because you didn't pick up.
You don't have other friends. Let's be honest.
I have other friends.
Not like me. You don't have any friends like me.
Son of a... Well, you're right. I don't have any other psychopathic fucking friends that I've been friends with since I was a child. You're correct.
Psychopathic. Expand on that, would you? Cody Halford from Abilene, Texas.
Yes, I would stand on that. I fucking... Yes, I swear
said
to
expand on it.
Oh, expand.
Yeah. What makes me so crazy? I mean, you hang out with murderers, people that train to fight people to death. I don't do that. How am I the crazy person?
Yeah. You're the type that would kill somebody if you got into it. You would be the type that would get too into it and fucking not let go when somebody taps. That's what kind of person you are.
You know why?
Yeah, because you're a fucking coward.
No, because I can't fight. I can't fight.
Exactly.
You could subdue somebody. In order for me to survive, I'd have to kill them. I can't fight.
The only way. This is the way.
This is the way.
Murder.
This is the way. Mandalorian quote.
It's so great. It's a great show. I enjoy it.
Well, I was jumping into the editing, or excuse me, the recording phase of tomorrow's episode whenever you called. So I was standing right next to the Roadcaster, and the reason I didn't answer the phone is because I didn't have the Bluetooth hooked up yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So welcome to episode 130.
Oh, am I part of the episode now?
Yeah, you're going to be on the Bill Sibley episode. We're live.
Yeah, you are. You're a psychopath, and everyone should know that. He is.
I think most people know that.
Yeah. If anybody has watched the new Jeffrey Dahmer show,
I do not eat
that's
people.
Andrew.
I mean, I'm a meat eater for sure, but
he's every bit of that, just without the eating people.
That's not nice.
Yeah. Secretly, What is the laughter? Everyone's laughing about the people that you trick and you murder.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. trick them to hanging out with you, and then you drug them up and whatnot.
Your baseless accusations. The man you're talking about went under a different alias and lived in Abilene, Texas. I'm Andrew Turner, and I live in Fort Worth, so there's that.
Yeah, he's lived several places, everyone.
That's
moved. Him covering his tracks.
He's moved an uncomfortable number of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
For real on that.
For the same reasons. Because, killing up people, you got to switch locations after a while.
None of what you're saying has anything to do with today's episode, so I'm going to need you to keep it topical, please.
Please. What's the topic?
Rein it in, buddy. Fort Worth music, which you know nothing about.
Fort Worth music. I don't know anything about it at all, except for those people that I met. They seemed really nice.
Who did you meet?
The couple. And he plays the box drums.
Okay.
She sings and plays guitar.
You're talking about Late to the Station. Late
to the Station, they're great.
That's Paul and Carrie, and they.
Paul and Carrie. I'm
they
terrible
have my
name.
heart. Yeah. So that was the September event.
Yeah, they're awesome.
We're doing that again this year. Will you come back?
I will. I will come back.
Awesome.
I will come back and support and probably have a few too many drinks and embarrass you. Because that's what I do.
You should stay the night. We should get you a hotel room this time.
Oh, instead of driving back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Yeah, maybe. In September. I guess I can plan that far ahead.
It's funny. It seems like a really long ways away, but I know it's going to come really fast.
It's going to be quick.
Really quick. April, I'm really nervous about because we have 3 events in April to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's here. April's here. I don't care what you say. It's here. And I'm not. Yeah. I'm not prepared. I'm not at all prepared.
You're never prepared, really. You just kind of fly by the seat of your pants.
That's true.
He does that, and you pretend like you have everything planned.
I try to plan. I do try to plan. I really do.
No, actually, I think you do a lot of planning. You just fucking freak out because like you don't have a plan. You act like you don't have a plan, but really you've been thinking about it day and night for
a year. Yeah.
A year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, because the first time I want to say the first event we did was with Psychedelic Panther, that event with Joe Guzman. And dude, I showed up with my own power generator. Like I literally had more shit at my little 10 by 10 station than anybody could have ever possibly needed. But the thing is, they had a power supply issue, and that generator ended up saving the day. Like, I powered the outdoor everything, the stage, the soundboard, the lights, all of it off of my little generator.
What happened to the normal source of power?
I can't remember what the issue was. I want to say it was like they only had enough extension cord to run to one plug, and maybe everything they were trying to run off that plug was tripping the breaker or something. I don't know. But they were like, this isn't going to work. Yeah. We have to have a generator. Holy shit, this guy brought a generator. So I always get this guy's name wrong. I think it's Ryan Higgs. He's a really nice guy, but he was like, yo, man, if we can run your generator, drinks are on me. I'll take care of your tab. And I was like, oh, you just fucked up, son.
Yeah, I'm gonna get. You could have bought a generator.
Yeah. No, I was actually pretty respectful about it. I think I only had maybe
you're terrible.
4 or 5 drinks over the course of a 8 to 10 hour period. But
yeah. I would have been wearing my throw up. What I would have been doing.
All right.
He has a throw up tie on. Look at him.
Oh God, that's not a tie.
Distinguished businessman.
It's not a tie at all. That's actually stomach acid eating through his shirt. Ooh. So what are you doing today? What are you doing this beautiful Sunday?
It's my last day with the kids for spring break. I took off all week, hanging out with them. They're driving me crazy. Nah, not really. I mean, they're fine.
It's gross how much you love your kids. It's disgusting.
They're awesome. You're supposed to love your kids. I mean, they drive me nuts. I mean, I think our kids drive us all nuts. But you can't help but not eat them because of whatever chemical in our brain that stops us from doing that.
Isn't there a thing about that? Like the reason that we that we get overwhelmingly excited about really cute babies is because we're trying not to eat them. Isn't there something about that?
Oxytocin,
and that's a chemical that is helping us fight the urge to eat them.
Yeah.
It's true, folks. Look it up.
Yeah. You could take that to Google.
Yeah.
I promise. It's true.
Sure. We've never Googled it. We heard it one time on a podcast and we just wrote it down as fact.
No, we heard it in a stand-up bit by Joe Rogan, I think.
Yeah. God,
yeah.
Man. He puts on a good live show. I wish we could catch him at a smaller venue. We just have to make the drive to Austin. He's always playing small places around there.
He has his own place there now, which is pretty cool.
His own comedy place?
Yeah, he opened his own club.
Oh, dude, we haven't been there. How is that even possible that you know this and we haven't made the trip?
I mean, right. I'm a fanboy, but I'm not that big of a fanboy.
Yeah, but we're big enough fanboys that we should have made that trip.
Sure. I bet it's hard to get in.
So, what? Do you know who I am? Here, that's good.
Oh my Lord!
Yes, lots of laughter. Yes.
Nobody even laughs. You know what? Nobody would even laugh. They don't even know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. It was a joke.
They'd be like, "Who's Joe Rogan?" That's what they would say.
What do you mean?
And there's actually a reason to know who that is. I'm saying just most people in general.
No.
Like, what percentage of the world really...
Okay.
Like,
all right.
He seems like the biggest deal to us because we listen to podcasts and I watch UFC and we're into comedy.
Listen to me. He's got several different avenues. If you're into comedy, you know who Joe Rogan is. If you're into podcasting, you know who Joe Rogan is. If you're into MMA, you know who Joe Rogan is.
Yeah, I still think...
And if you like that awesome sitcom with Phil Hartman in it, you know who Joe Rogan is.
Oh, yeah? You think, what was it, News Radio is the one? That's the avenue?
I love that show.
Joe Rogan is?
That's how, well,
Get out of here.
I was about to say that's how I know Joe Rogan, but that'd be a lie. I know Joe Rogan from Fear Factor.
He's a liar.
I know him from Fear
Factor.
Yes.
That's how most people know him.
Yes. But then I went back and I watched News Radio, and I don't know. I thought he kind of sucked.
Because that's how big of a follower you are. You're like, oh my God, he's the podcast king.
No,
I'm going to go back and watch his sitcom.
I'm more of a Phil Hartman fan, really. Out of that show, Phil Hartman was the main character.
Well, shouldn't cheat. Just saying.
Oh, fuck. Cody, goddamn. Yeah, for people that don't know, Phil Hartman was murdered by his wife. Did she stab him or shoot him?
I think she shot him.
Yeah. There's like a whole documentary. There's several documentaries, I think, about that. But like, he was coming to work like concerned. Like, he had fear in his personality for like the last 6 months of his life. Like, he kind of knew it was coming, I think. It was awful. It was really awful.
You don't have no, what is it, fury like a scorned woman? Something like that?
Something like that, yeah. But like, I didn't know he cheated on his wife. Is that what caused that?
Something like that. I don't know. Just let me.
More baseless accusations by Cody Halford from Abilene, Texas.
Had something to do with it.
Are you in a bathroom now?
No. We're
going to get a solid recording of you squeezing one out?
No, I'm in the foyer of my house.
It's a foyer.
Foyer, whatever. I'm not French.
You animal.
I'm American. I'm supposed to mispronounce words.
Yeah, well, you got that right.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you call somebody that speaks more than one language?
Bilingual.
Right, or yeah. And what do you call somebody that only speaks one language? American. That's right. That's correct. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, what do you have to say to folks listening to this weird addition to the Fort Worth Roots podcast here at the end of the episode with Bill Sibley?
Don't trust a word that Andrew Turner says.
Why? Because you can't trust anybody from Abilene, Texas?
No, it's because it's Andrew.
As much shit as I talk about Abilene...
Take it from somebody that knows him very well.
As much shit as I talk about people from Abilene, it is actually a really good community. Lots of good people. Minus you, of course, you asshat.
Look, I'm the only person that likes you enough to forgive you for all the terrible things you've done.
That's true. I've done a lot of really bad shit. All right, that's enough time for We Are All Out of Time. Have a good evening. All right, see you, Cody Halbert. Did you sit there through the whole thing?
No, I just said my hands are full of groceries at the end.
I had you
like
that.
That was my reasoning for
still being
for not hanging up, for staying on the phone still.
All right, well, take care of your shit. I'll see you.
All right, goodbye.